Welcome to the part 2 of chapter 3, The Power of Habits, from the book The Science of Mind Management, written by Swami Mukundananda. The concept of habits is good habits and bad habits. Habits can be compared to macros in an Excel sheet. You might have seen Excel sheet, right? There will be a feature called macros. If you have tasks you wish to repeat in multiple cells, you can record a macro to automate them and quickly apply the set of actions to the selected cells. Habits are like macros in the brain. On receiving the given cue, the brain automatically performs the action of its programming. However, there is a catch to it. The created macro does not care whether it was correctly designed or not. If correct, it saves time through automated processes. But if the macro itself is wrong, we end up with a messed up Excel sheet. Likewise, habits to program the brain for our benefit or our harm. Here is an example, anecdotal tale about habits. In the early 20th century, a British explorer came across a group of cannibals. They sat around a feast of human flesh and were about to eat. The explorer was surprised to learn that the tribal chief had studied at Cambridge University. You have received good education and you still eat human flesh? The traveler asked. Yes, replied the cannibal chief. The only difference is that earlier I used to eat with my fingers, now I eat with my knife and fork. As the vintage saying goes, old habits die hard. Unfortunately, good habits require effort. Good habits require effort for their creation, while bad habits develop all too easily. If you are having any habit, identify it by whether it is easy or whether it is require effort. You indulge in something that gives you pleasure in the moment. While the habit is forming, you do not realize the serious long term harm it is causing and you carelessly repeat the pleasurable indulgence. In a few weeks, the habit grips you. It will take control over you and you find yourself bound by the habit loop, which is nothing but trigger, stimulus, and then you, after getting a trigger, you respond, you act accordingly, and the happy hormones, feel good hormones will be released as a reward. Good habits are nothing but it will be hard to come by and easy to live with. Conversely, bad habits develop very easily and are hard to live with. Given the fact that bad habits harms us, like which demotivate us, we need to be more aware of the repeated choices we make. Very often people unconsciously make choices in their lives. It is like the horse rider who, when asked where he was going, replied, I don't know, ask the horse. The horse rider's response was comical because he should have said the direction, not the horse. Similarly, our unconscious choices create bad habits we later live to regret. The reason bad habits get a grip on us is that the first few times we repeat a harmful behavior, it does not seem to do much damage. The first few puffs of a cigarette do not forebode that cigarettes are addictive. The initial peg of alcohol do not warn us of the obsessive compulsion that lies ahead. Let us take an example. Take the example of a giant sequoia tree that lives for over 2000 years and grows up to a height of 300 feet and the height of a 20-story building. Yet, as you travel the Yosemite forest in the California, you find a huge sequoia lying on the ground. What happened to it? It was born 2 millennia in the past and was thriving until a few decades ago. Then a beetle came to live on it. The huge tree seemed to be in no danger from the little creature, but within a year there were hundreds of beetles crawling on the tree. In 4 years, the beetles had made gigantic colonies on the tree. They now had the upper hand and were invincible. During the 5th year, the giant tree, one of the biggest in the world, had been felled by the tiny beetles. Similarly, when a person first takes bhang, marijuana means a alcohol type, the changes in the body and mind seem so minute that the user is almost unaware of them. But the habit loop has been set in the motion. Every indulgence thereafter acts like a thread in the cable until the cable is so strong. As I said, right? Cable, if you twist it, it will become so strong that it becomes an addiction. Even visits to the rehabilitation center are of no use in breaking it. Once your cable is strong, you can't break it. Once your bad habits are so strong, you can't come out of that. The same is the case with the good habits as well. In the short run, their benefits may seem imperceptible. Going for one session of yoga on Sunday may not make any noticeable difference on your health. However, if you consistently do yoga 5 to 6 days a week and continue week after week, then in the space of few years you will definitely become a healthier person. Taking a glass of water upon waking up a day may be of no significance, but if you habitually drink water first thing in the morning, every morning, your digestive system will undoubtedly become better in a few years. Thus, the benefit of a good habit is the cumulative impact it has in the long run. Let us move on to the next topic. Use the power of habits to build a noble character. Over time, our habits form or build our own character. A virtuous character is the consequence of morally upright habits. Let us take an example. For example, if you are truthful day after day, honest yourself week after week and year after year, it becomes installed within you as a habit. In this way, honesty does not come by itself. It is a habit you ingrain within yourself. Once installed, the habit of honesty prevents you from wandering off course, of course, morally or ethically in our day to day behavior. Building a noble character requires the elimination of detrimental habits and installation of beneficial ones. Without success in this, we will remain fettered slaves of our minds and senses. Like a rudderless ship in a stormy ocean, we will continually be tossed around by the waves of Maya that come in the form of anger, greed, desire, envy, and illusion. Ralph Waldo Emerson expressed this well when he said, this is a powerful quotation, you might have already know that. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. This you might have known it. Whatever you sow a seed, it will grow as a plant. We must thus apply yourself to the task of breaking your dysfunctional habits and developing beneficial ones. If this seems an arduous task, you don't feel like this is not going to work, let us take encouragement from the fact that even animals change painful habits, as the story here illustrates. It is a story time. India has many popular tales of the 17th century Mughal Emperor Akbar and his wise and intelligent minister Birbal. It is said that Akbar once asked Birbal if there was anyone in his kingdom who could train goats to resist green grass. Goats have the natural tendency of eating the green grass. Birbal replied that it was a small matter and he needed just a month to get it done. Birbal then took a goat to his home. Every day he would place fresh green grass before the goat. But the moment it would try to eat the grass, he would whack the goat. He would beat the goat severely on the mouth with a stick. Finally, even the goat's tiny intellect learned that eating the grass was too painful, the reward was not worth its while. After a month's training, every day the goat used to get beatings from Birbal. It got trained. Birbal brought that goat to the Akbar's court. He announced to the king, "Your Majesty, this goat is trained now. It will not eat even the most succulent grass." Akbar asked his servants to bring fresh grass. He put the grass before the goat's nose. In the meantime, Birbal twirled the stick in his hand. The goat looked at the grass, then looked at the stick and turned its head away. It had learnt to resist eating grass by grasping the dreadful penalty. This is the wonderful story which reveals the basic nature of all creatures, including humans. You all wish to avoid pain. We all wish to avoid pain. On becoming aware of the painful consequences, even the unintelligent goat learned to break away from its natural tendency of eating grass. Likewise, we too must become aware of the miserable long term consequences of bad habits. If we can convince ourselves of the harm they cause us and the pain they inflict upon us, we will be able to break their gravitational pull. But this is the only half the story. At this point, it becomes important to understand the two different kinds of happiness that exist. Let us move on to next topic. Two types of happiness: Shreyaha, Preyaha. The Vedas speaks about these two kinds of pleasures. One is Shreyaha and second one is Preyaha. Shreyaha is the pleasure which seems bitter in the beginning but becomes very sweet in the long run. Preyaha is that pleasure which seems pleasant in the present and but causes great pain later. The difference between them is akin to delayed gratification versus immediate gratification. An example of Shreyaha is the eating of amla or the Indian gooseberry. Amla is a superfood that is very beneficial for health. Each amla has the vitamin C of 10 oranges. However, children dislike it since it has a bitter taste. Parents in India encourage children to eat it, saying, "आमले का खाया और बड़ों का कहा, बाद में पता चलते हैं." The benefits of both these, eating amla and following the advice of elders, are experienced in the future. आमला का खाया और बड़ों का कहा, ये बाद में पता चलते हैं. You also know in future these two of benefits. Interestingly, within a couple of minutes of eating the amla, the bitter taste in the mouth transformed into the sweetness. And the long-term benefits of the consuming natural vitamin C are undoubtedly numerous. Shreyaha, happiness, is of the same nature. It appears bitter in the short term, but is like nectar in the end. Preyaha is the opposite. It seems like a ambrosia initially, but proves to be poisonous in the end. Regarding Shreyaha and Preyaha, the Kathopanishad of the Krishna Yajurveda states like this: Anyachrayo Anyadutaiva Preyaste Ubhe Nanarthe Purusham Sinitaha Tayo Shreyaha Adadanasya Sadhu Bhavati Hiyate Artadaya Artadya Yupreyo Vrinite Shreyascha Preyascha Manusyametastau Samaparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha Shreyo hi dhiro Abhipreyaso Vrinite Preyo Mando Yogakshemad Vrinite. The meaning of this is, there are two paths. One is beneficial, another one is pleasant. These two lead humans to very different ends. The pleasant is enjoyable in the beginning and ends in pain. The ignorant are snared to the pleasant and perish. But the wise are not deceived by its attractions. They choose the beneficial one and finally attain happiness. With the help of this understanding, we feel empowered to modify bad habits. First, we must repeatedly analyze and convince ourselves of the benefits that will accrue from changing the negative habits. Second, we must reflect deeply on the pain that will be caused by not changing. We can enumerate all the pleasures and pains, benefits and harmful effects, and advantages and disadvantages. When you are purchasing a product in the Amazon, you just check reviews, right? Pros and cons of buying it. Like that way, you need to analyze your habits. For example, if you wish to develop the habit of setting aside a half an hour every day for exercise, a possible analysis could be like this: happiness from cultivating a habit of exercising for 30 minutes every day. What are the pros? Here are the pros: improved well being, continued youthness, feeling of time well spent, more mental clarity, improved self image, reduction of bad cholesterol, development of a healthy heart, improved muscle mass, more appealing personality, greater stamina for the work. Now let us see the cons. Pain from not cultivating this healthy habit. Unhealthy body, lethargy, weight gain, force to buy new clothes, displeasure of spouse, lack of self-confidence among friends, earlier onset of old age, increased risk of blood sugar and diabetes, weak self-image, lack of self-control and willpower. This is a sample analysis for developing a good habit. Now, if we wish to get rid of a bad habit, how should we convince ourselves? We can list the happiness we will get by eradicating it. We should also make a list of the pain if we continue with it. Let us take another example of bad habit now. We have seen how exercise of 30 minutes helps in good habit. Now we are going to the bad habit. Bad habit is you want to break the habit of eating junk food. Yeah, let us see that what is the possible analysis you can make it. Happiness from the breaking the habit of eating junk food. What are the benefits? Weight control, reduced risk of diabetes, focused on more nutritious diet, longer and healthier life, improved self-image, the feel-good factor of a better conscience, more appealing personality, greater stamina for work, financial savings, spouse satisfaction and respect. If you cut down the junk food, the pain from continuing the habit of eating junk food like chips and other things. First thing is obesity, second one is displeasure of spouse, lack of self control and willpower, discomfort of conscience for not doing what is proper, poor self image due to weak willpower, disrespect of friends and well wishers, shorter and unhealthier life, reduced energy for work, early onset of old age, increased risk of diabetes. We must deeply convince ourselves of the painful consequences of bad habits and the peace of mind that accrues from good habits. The technique of contemplation, which is nothing but chintana, reflecting upon a piece of the knowledge to transform it into a conviction, will be elaborated in the fifth chapter. When we are deeply convinced about the benefits of a certain thought pattern or action, we naturally try to adapt it. If we grows on as it grows on us every time we practice it. With sufficient repetition, the new thought or behavior solidifies into a new habit, replacing the old ones. One day, like the firm rope made from the puny blades of straw, the new behavior becomes an integral part of our personality. This is how one develops a great personality with a shining character forged from virtuous habits. Jagadguru Kripaluji Maharaj recommended spending a few minutes for introspection before going to bed every day to reflect on where we improved our behavior and where we need to put in more effort. He advised maintaining a diary for this purpose. A diary or journal is a powerful tool for staying on track in the effort for self improvement. If you are want to improve from your current self to the desired situation, journal yourself. Before going to bed, ask yourself which tool I need to improve on or which time I need to improve on. Mahatma Gandhi was fond of maintaining a self-improvement diary. Benjamin Franklin is the another famous example of someone who used a diary or journal for establishing good habits. His efforts for self-transformation are chronicled in the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. He had a list of 13 habits that he wanted to change. He jotted them down and then focused on one habit every week. He kept track of its daily, documenting whether he practiced it or not. A simple check mark indicated success, while a cross indicated failure. At the end of the week, he could see how well he was adapting the habit of the week. Let us see the next concept, breaking the gravitational pull of bad habits, in the next episode. Until then, stay connected, track your habits before going to bed tonight, and share in the comments how you have experienced of tracking journaling. See you in another episode. Until then, stay connected, keep progressing. Thank you.